So, 1 week down, rest of my life to go. And so last week's 7-day plan was to go to bed and get up at the same time every day. I was going to wake up at 7 o'clock a.m. every morning and then go to bed at 10:30 every night. That way I could guarantee that I would get 8 hours of sleep, which I don't tend to do. If you remember my last vlog, I mentioned how because of my ADHD, sometimes I stay up too late. And so, did I succeed? Well, mostly. There were a couple of times last week, it was a Tuesday and I think also Friday, where I did wind up getting distracted and I wound up going to bed about a half an hour to an hour later than I had planned to. Now, I did wind up waking up the next morning later, so I did still get the 8 hours, so no harm, no foul, right? Well, not exactly. When you do something at the same time every day, you then develop a habit. And once it becomes a habit, you're more likely to do it. I was lucky that I was able to get 8 hours every day, and I have noticed a difference in being able to get 8 hours of sleep. I've only been doing it for a week, but I certainly do feel a bit better. But I also need to make sure that I'm going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every morning. It's like driving a car with a bit of a wobbly wheel. I mean, if it stays on the same plane, you should be all right for a while, but it is a lot more difficult to drive, and you definitely are looking for trouble down the road. But now we're at the start of a new week, so I want to add an additional habit to that week. And my habit is going to be based off of my eating. Now, one thing you may have noticed, of course, is that these first two habits that I'm trying to develop are based on my health. And I suspect that the next few are also going to be based that way. And you may be wondering why I'm not right now introducing any 7-day starters that have anything to do with my writing or other things that I want to accomplish. So let's talk about that for a moment. So one thing that I've learned over the course of being a writer is something that's known as Maslow's hierarchy. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about it, but it's certainly worth your time to look up Maslow's hierarchy and to study it. Basically, what it says is that every human being needs certain things to feel safe and secure and to be happy. What Maslow's hierarchy says is that there's this list of things that we need, but there are some things that we consider more important than others. And that there are certain things that we're not even going to care about fulfilling if there are certain other things that we haven't fulfilled first. For example, food, water, and shelter are right at the bottom of the hierarchy. And so, of course, you're not going to care about your social status if you don't have a place to live and you don't know where your next meal is coming from. One thing you're going to notice when you start researching Maslow's hierarchy, especially if you're an artist, is that artistic expression is like literally the last thing on the list, which means that your desire to express yourself artistically is going to take a back seat to everything else in your life if they're not where they need to be. So one thing I noticed studying Maslow's hierarchy is that a lot of people who are trying to change their lives, it seems to me like they're doing it the wrong way. Now, there may be somebody who wants to become an artist or start their own business or find a relationship that's meaningful. But start at the bottom of the list again. If they don't have food, clothing, and shelter, those other things aren't really going to matter that much. Some things that are higher up on the hierarchy are going to suffer if you don't take care of the things underneath. So that's why for right now, getting back into writing and artistic expression for me is not a priority, because I realize that if I don't get my health locked down, the rest of this stuff is going to suffer. So I need to take care of that first, and that's what I'm doing. So the next thing on my list for the next 7 days is I'm going to make a habit of eating 3 times a day. Now, for the longest time, I would say for at least 3 decades, I've not eaten 3 meals a day. It's been 1 to 2 at the most. And I got into that habit because I've wanted to lose weight, and so I've cut back on eating meals thinking that it would help. And obviously, it hasn't done me any good at all. And I've definitely noticed that very often when I eat something that I shouldn't have, it's because I haven't really eaten that day and the hunger has basically drags me into eating something just convenient instead of something that's good for me. And of course, people always tell you that skipping meals is not the best way to lose weight. So I want to get back into the habit of eating regular meals that are a smaller portion, but eating at a regular basis so that I don't have the spikes and troughs that you get when you skip meals. And so I'm adding that as another habit to help me get to better health. Today I had a doctor's appointment where we talked about how I'm doing on the Adderall, and right now I'm taking the lowest dose and I'm only taking it once a day instead of twice a day. And I told him I'm really not feeling any kind of benefits from taking the medicine. So we're going to double up my dosage and we're going to try that out to see if that works better. But I do have to say that not everything I'm going to be doing this week is totally focused on my health. So last week, Seth Godin published a new book, which I picked up recently on Amazon. It's called The Practice: Shipping Creative Work. Seth Godin has written a lot of great books that I've read over the years. And this is basically a call to arms for artists to create and get their work out there. Hey, and let's face it, if there's a message that I need to hear right now, it's definitely this one. And once I'm done reading it, I'll do a video on this book and give you my review if you're curious about it and want to know if, in my opinion, if it'll be worth your time. So, time to get started on another habit, and I'll tell you how it went in 7 days.